Giddy up here. Let's keep this dog and pony show going here. I gotta beat 4 minutes, I don't know.
There's
no way.
There's no way.
Damn, that was incredible. That was incredible. You got somewhere to go?
Get it rolling
Right
there.
here.
Give it back.
Oh, my
Give that my hero. That was a new
All right, so we, first order of business is to approve the, Mr. Swan, thank you.
Excuse me.
First order of business is to approve last month's committee meeting minutes. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Beatty. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay. Item 1 is always a transfer of funds. Anybody have any questions or comments on those? Okay. Let's move into item 2, and that is items to be discussed by the county treasurer. I'm going to do it later.
Good morning, everybody. Item A is a request to reimburse for Monica Stark, our junior accountant, for two courses at SUNY Adirondack. Just to give you some background, she started in my office as an intern. She's received her associate's degree in accounting while working here, and now she's going for her bachelor's. I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, and the second item is to transfer some money from the salary code, our regular salary code, to part-time to cover the cost for Deb McLeod when she comes back in the fall. We had already approved the resolution to do it.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else, Michael?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in my quest to beat 4 minutes, I forgot to approve the first one. So do we have a motion to approve the funds of transfer?
Aye.
Motion made by Supervisor Frazier, seconded by Supervisor Bramer.
I do have a question
Yeah.
on the one related to the sheriff's 911 center. That's a lot of money. Do we know what's going on there?
We do. It's the money has to go into, I believe, an equipment code instead of a contractual. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a revenue transfer. It has to go into a state revenue account instead of a federal revenue account. It's just a
Thank you.
technical correction.
Okay, any other questions? That was a good one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, so 2 is taken care of. We are on to 3, and that's county facilities. The first one is airport, and it's a request to close the following capital projects. And remaining funds returned to the funding sources of Upgrade Fuel Farm of $149.93 and returned to the airport reserve, as well as the airport security systems for $38,000 returned to the airport reserve. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Criminal Justice and Public Safety, under assigned counsel, we have a request to amend the county budget.
Building and ground. I know you're trying 4 minutes.
Boy, I'm trying to fly through this stuff. All right, let's go back to B. Sorry, people. And that is to appropriate funding in the amount of $122,000.
So moved.
Motion made by Supervisor Bramer, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, on to 5. Assigned counsel, request to amend the county budget in the amount of $51,710.50 to reflect the receipt of funding from New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services for oils distribution number 7. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Under Sheriff, we have a request to amend the county budget, the amount of $33,138.44, and that is to reflect the receipt of revenue from Hadley Luzerne School District to cover the cost of school resource officers. Motion made by Supervisor Merlino, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Under Economic Growth and Development Planning, we do have a request to do a couple of capital projects here, A and B, and those are for promoting the First Wilderness in the amount of $68.51 and flood mitigation for $858.18. Would anybody like to move both of those? Supervisor McDevitt, second by Supervisor Frazier. Any discussion? Yes.
What is that first one about, the $6,851? I'm sorry, I missed
This was the panels that are being done in the visitor center in Lake George, and we're paying for it out of OCTAX, so there's an accompanying transfer out of the tourism budget into the planning budget so that they can move it out of planning into the capital fund.
And this was for the communities that are not part of the first wilderness corridor, to include them into that as well.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item C is a request to close the following capital projects and return remaining funds to the general fund, and that is the County Quadricentennial Program, with no funds to be returned. The first Wilderness Scenic Byways in the amount of $9.61. And then we have the flood mitigation grant with no funds remaining, as well as local government records management, and that's for $11.37. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Chairman,
Yes?
if I may, just quickly before we move off EDC, I know that there was an item that came through my committee, Real Property, regarding the sale of certain properties to the EDC, and the treasurer has indicated that we will not need to charge back to the town and the school district, which I think is good for the town, obviously. My concern about selling those properties is that we make sure we do that in accordance with proper procedure and that we get the most benefit that we can for the county, since we did purchase it as basically a private landowner. So I understand that there's a process that our administrator is going to start looking at, and I am encouraging the committee to do whatever we can to move that along expeditiously as soon as he is able to bring us additional information. Just wanted to throw that out there. I know it was discussed at EDC on Monday, but I missed that portion too. So I wanted to...
Duly noted, correct, Sarah? Did you want to comment on this right now, or?
I will talk with the EDC regarding whether we can amend this option agreement to make it a little more enticing for the county. They do have a board of directors that they need to report to, so I can't make any guarantees, but we're going to try. And in the event that we do that, we'll have a public hearing.
Supervisor Strauss?
Just on that matter, let's not forget the bottom line. The bottom line is that property has a productivity to it, a potential. So I mean, if county or EDC or nobody, if we can locate a company and get a company there and start producing jobs and taxes, that's the bottom line.
Right.
That's what we should be considering, that's what we should be caring about. I know we're getting distracted by details, but let's not forget the bottom line. Okay,
Okay.
just a comment.
We good on this?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to item 6. These are referrals from Public Works under Parks and Rec. We do have a request to amend the county budget in the amount of $5,000 to reflect receipt of funds donated by the Lewis Trust. Motion made by Supervisor Merlino, seconded by Supervisor Frazier, and I believe, was it Supervisor Bramer that also wanted to attach a letter of thank you to this? Can we please do that
Yeah.
as well? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item B, request to establish a reserve county railroad repairs for the purpose of accumulating money to finance the cost of repairs relating to the county-owned railroad. Motion made by Supervisor Bramer, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. Supervisor Bramer?
Thanks. I did ask our superintendent of public works about B, C, and D, and so I would be happy to move all three of those. And I just want to comment that D is related to a particular building, particular railroad building that needs to be demolished. So the county has already demolished the building, and now we need to spend this money to get rid of the materials properly. The other thing that I asked him about is how much we've already expended other than this building on the maintenance of the line, and it was around $21,000. So that's up for all of 2019. We spent $21,000 maintaining the railroad corridor. So Just wanted to throw that out there. It's not $300,000. It's not zero, but it's not $300,000 either. So I'd move B,
You're
C, and
amending
D.
your-
I don't know who
Amending your
seconded.
motion to B,
Yeah.
C, and D. Supervisor Garrity, I believe you're...
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Item 7 is from the Support Services Committee, Board of Elections, and this is a request to amend the 2019 county budget in the amount of $88,134 in anticipation of New York State Board of Elections funding for early voting and e-poll books.
I'll make a motion just to get on the floor.
Sure. Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Bramer.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Source of funding, Frank? For this 88,000?
These are two
Board of
grants that were included in the state budget.
What's the grant?
Yeah. But now, I just want to note that you'll notice the word anticipated.
Right.
We do not have executed contracts from the state. We typically
That's what
like to
it is.
have those, but when we amend the budget, we're in a predicament here because if we can't spend the money and order the equipment, we won't have it in place for the election.
Okay.
We will get the money.
Okay.
In
Okay.
time for this election?
It's a reimbursement grant.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Under Clerk of the Board, request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $50,000 from the contingent account to medical examiners and coroners medical fees to cover the cost of autopsy medical examiner fees for the remainder of 2019.
I'll put it forward.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Strau, seconded by Supervisor Bramer. We do have $245,300 in our contingent account right now, so this would lessen it to about $195. If that's okay with the committee?
I have a question.
Yes?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, does that whatever you just said, 45? Does that include money that we still need for other purposes related to negotiations, or have we already spent that money out of the contingency?
We have not moved that money out of contingency yet on the negotiations. We're going to wait till the end of the year to see how much we actually need.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for asking that question. Supervisor Garrity, did you have a question?
Yeah. I know just because we transfer it, if the money's not spent, it will go back into the fund balance. Is this just to avoid coming back to this committee and asking for more money later? Is that why they picked 50, or?
No, we have a budget of $100,000, and from January till mid-July, we used all of that because we were still getting these services from Albany.
Okay.
So now, in the beginning of July, we're starting to use Glens Falls Hospital, so we're hoping it's going to be less.
Gotcha.
So we just picked 50,000, thinking it was half of what we had for the year, and we're hoping that's going to cover it, but we have no
Okay.
idea. It depends on how many times these services are used. I guess.
Right.
If it's a low number, we'll have money to send back. If it's higher, we'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, under County Clerk, this one actually is no longer needed. The County Treasurer's Office says the funds will be accounted for in the expendable trust fund administered by the Treasurer, so no action required there. Item 8, County Administrator Ryan Moore.
The journal reports are in your packet as always. Any questions? No questions, and we can move on to the Regional Planning Board budget. The budget officer, pursuant to the 5-county MOA, has already taken a look at the budget and has not kicked back any changes to the Regional Planning Board. And now, so it moves to the Board of Supervisors. The options for the board are either to approve the budget as is or to approve a advisory report recommending modifications back to the Regional Planning Board.
Motion made by Supervisor Bramer, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor, or
Sorry.
question, yeah?
Yeah, I thought that Administrator Moore had said that the county share was not increasing this year over last year.
It's not. If you look under revenue, this is in the packet, the 2019 budget for Warren County is $12,954, and the 2020 is also $12,954.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Recuse.
I abstain. Okay, moving on to item C, go ahead.
This is a resolution that we have held off on as much as possible because we've been trying as hard as we can to collect this money. We've run into a brick wall, namely the state time period has elapsed under which to there's a 2-year time period under which the state will allow you to resubmit claims. That has long since passed. The burden of proof is on us to show that it was not our fault that we missed that window. We were not able to do that. Tammy's worked on this issue every week, literally since the day she started in the county administrator's office. And the amount that we will need to write off is, it's in the packet.
552.
Yeah, did you say 552?
552, 683.37.
Okay, yep, there it is, $552,683.37. This doesn't come out of the general fund, it comes out of the Westmount Reserve. And we have good news on this. We have a couple of cases that Tom Clements has been working on. The first one, if we can settle it today and put $100,000 back into that reserve, or we can take it to appeal and potentially get up to $200,000 or $300,000, depending on how the appeal works out. And there's another case in the pipeline that has the potential to get us $100,000.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
Sure, I can't get on
Okay,
the floor.
motion made by Supervisor Brammer, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. Go ahead.
I was thinking this write-off meant that we are not receiving the money, but something he just said about the money coming out of our reserve fund, are we having to pay this to someone, are we paying it to ourselves? What is exactly happening?
We have a receivable, so it's showing up as a balance in the reserve account, but it's revenue that we're not actually going to receive, so we need to write off that receivable at the recommendation of our outside auditors. They've said we've spent enough time on this, we really need to either put up or shut up and get it off the books.
Can I?
Sure.
I'm sure Tammy worked very hard on this. Are these cases that we had, I should not say cases, are these situations where we had the outside attorney looking at them also, prosecuting them, or civilly, you know what I'm trying to say?
These, I believe all of this is for patients that are deceased, and
That's Mike.
These aren't private pay.
These are Medicaid, Medicare
Yeah.
cases, okay? So this is not private pay situations, which is what Tom Clemens and I and
Okay.
attorney.
Okay,
All right, so there's two different distinctions.
thank you. Okay.
Supervisor Garrity, Beatty, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, we're gonna write off $500,000. I don't think this is our shining moment here up at the county. You know, I get it, I understand all the logistics of it and so forth, but it's just not a good day that we have to write off $500,000 due to a number of factors. We didn't file on time, or this or that, or so forth. So I'm disappointed in that, and but I understand where we are now legally, and I'm just not happy with that. I'll probably vote against it only based on law of principle and so forth. So thank you.
Fortunately, a lot of these homes do that, though.
Basically, the reason why this occurred, why this wasn't collected, the state changed the rules and compressed the time period under which our staff was able to submit the claims. And we also, at the time, we were selling the facility, and it was difficult to recruit staff and retain staff, and our billing department essentially was a little short, and you know, they fell behind.
Supervisor?
Just to bounce off that, I mean, Tammy inherited this problem. This is not,
Right.
I didn't want to imply at all that this
This
is
went back to
her
David
not
Lloyd.
doing enough. It was way
Okay.
back, yeah. Exactly, we didn't do the billing we should have at the time.
Supervisor Gary?
Just to add to what they both said. The board was not aware of this problem in 2016. We didn't realize that the outstanding debt was this kind of, we were shocked when we got the list of what we were owed. And we were behind the 8 ball when we received the list from Westmount to start trying to collect it. And then we ran into inherent problems of finding somebody willing to take this on to try to get some of this money. It was a mess.
In other sales, sometimes you'll sell the receivables along with the property and the operation. And I think it's to the board's credit that we didn't do that, because although we've had some write-offs, we've also had some success in getting those funds. And those funds in the reserve will be used in the out years to pay the legacy costs.
Supervisor Brown?
What will be the true balance of the reserve after this?
The actual dollars in there,
Yeah.
I don't have to figure off the top of my head, but right now, I'm going to say it's a little under $1 million. It was set up to be about $4 million, and we will get there minus this. But we have not received everything we're supposed to get.
So we'll end up getting around $3.5 million?
Yeah, between $3 and $4 million, yeah. So we'll have, we project that we should not have any problems with the legacy costs going forward, because that's going to take 20 years for that to all trail.
Any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ryan, did you have one more item?
I do have one more item. Supervisor Simpson asked me to bring this to the committee today. He has been working on the Swede Mountain Fire Tower. The county owns a parcel of land where the tower is located. We also own the tower. We don't own the land around the tower. That's owned by Lime Adirondack Timber Company. We have been working with DPW. Superintendent Kevin Hajos is here if you have any questions. We need to refurbish that tower. It'll be an attraction essentially for a hiking trail. The plan is to have a hiking trail built by volunteers. We're approaching Mariah Shock, potentially Eagle Scouts, Cub Scouts, to get the work done. We also need to have some improvements made to the access road so that Kevin and his crew can get in there and refurbish the tower so that it's safe for the general public. Those refurbishments, we think, maybe somewhere around $3,000–4,000. We're not ready to do them right away. As I said, we have to make some improvements to the access road. The reason why we're bringing this up now is because if the Adirondack Lime is going to require a user agreement with us. $3,000 per year is the price for access to their land so that we can start getting this work done. If we get this through the August board meeting, we'll have until, I believe, September 10th to start doing some of the to get this project moving. We get kicked off the land September 10th because it's hunting season and it's not safe for us to be there. We can come back in December, but of course you're not going to build much in December. So in an effort to try to get this work going before the next opportunity to do it would be early summer next year, we thought we could at least try to get it on the agenda for the August board meeting. And that's one piece of it. The second piece is how to pay for it. We have enough unearmarked funds left over in the county HOC tax in the tourism department budget to use occupancy tax, because this is going to be a hiking trail. It's about halfway between Brant Lake and Hague. We believe it'll be successful in attracting people to those communities. I did talk to Supervisor Dickinson, and if this Finance Committee, which has a majority of the OCTAX committee on it, if you're okay with using OCTAX, he's okay with that.
I'll make this.
Do we know how long this project will take? At $3,000 a year, right?
Well, the $3,000 a year is something that we will, in perpetuity, as long as the people are using the hiking trail and the hiking trail is in operation. We will look to see if we can partner, I think, with the town of Hague in the future on those expenses.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Bramer.
How long is the trail that we're talking about over their land? And how much time do we get to use it?
I believe it's about a mile, is that right?
It's 8 decimal mile, and the season for what would be used would be from December 15th all the way through to September 10th each year, and then between September 10th and December 15th is hunting season, and part of that land they lease out to hunters as well, so we wouldn't want to be up there.
Supervisor Leggett.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to put this in perspective, Chester Challenge has about 8 trails. 4 of them are across private land. We have license agreements with private landowners. We charge the town absolutely nothing for the
I don't like
use of those trails. I think it's terrible that Lime Timber, a large landholder here in the Adirondacks, has the gall to charge the county $3,000 for a partial per year for partial access to land we own.
I have to say, I feel the same way. $3,000 for a year, forever, as long as we own that tower, to just let people go up there, seems like they're squeezing us for less than a mile.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Is there a way we can effectively convey the feelings of Supervisor Leggett and Supervisor Bramer, our feelings about this specific issue, to convey to that company and see if we can resolve it?
We don't have to act on this. We'll be essentially pushing the work back to next year, but that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, but is there a way we can now communicate with them and say, hey, we think this is unfair, we have an issue with it, can we come to the table and figure this out?
Supervisor,
Some reasonable way.
Supervisor Simpson and I can do that. He's been working with them. We approached them with the idea for the project,
Great.
And this is what was negotiated out, but we can talk further.
Supervisor Bates?
That's almost exactly what I was going to say, Peter. I think at the end of the day, we're being a good citizen to them. They need to be a good citizen, a good neighbor to us. And that $3,000 fee, I agree with Mr. Leggett and everybody else who mentioned it. It's the money's not a lot of money, but it's a yearly fee, and the fact that you're already doing things, allowing things for Lime Timber, I think they'll be reasonable if Mr. Simpson and yourself, Ryan, talk to them. I want to go that route before I address actually approving it or not approving it. So,
Supervisor Stroud?
yes, have we investigated, I've worked on trails like this, purchasing an easement?
It came to me already negotiated.
Well, I would like to think that we could purchase an easement, and we can try and get the cooperation of the property owner, at least to start with this process, and then, as a government for a public purpose, we could go to other steps as well. I think I love the trails, and I love the idea of a trail going to a fire tower, and I think that would be good for tourism, but I think we need to investigate what else we can do here.
Supervisor Leggett?
Thank you, Chairman. The county owns a landlocked parcel up there. How is it that we do not already have some type of easement or access one way or another across Lime Timber land to access our property?
Did you want to address that?
There is an existing easement today that we have on their logging header road to maintain the tower, and that's all we have. That's not where they're proposing the trail to be.
Supervisor Bramer?
I was going to say that. In order to start working on the tower, there's no reason we can't do that right now in August. We have an easement to get up there to do maintenance work, so we can start doing that now.
I don't want to commit the workforce to that if we're never ultimately going to have a trail.
It's true.
I
Kevin?
just want to add, the maintenance work that we were proposing this year was nothing to do with the tower, it was to do with the trail, exterior trail that they had proposed.
Oh. The tower is in fine shape for the
No,
public?
that was not
Okay.
part of this year's, that was not part of this year's work to do. That was going to go into next spring. This year, we're just going to at least try to get the trail opened up to the town.
Okay, so, go ahead, Supervisor Gary.
Is this the same property that the snowmobile trail runs over?
I don't know, but I don't really think so. I don't ever hear them talk about up in there.
It's
Is
not
it?
the same trail.
Not the same property?
It's in that general area, but it's not the same trail. It's not the same.
Okay, so we have all the comments and concerns. Let's put this in the lap of Supervisor Simpson and our administrator, and they can come back to us. Okay, sound good? Ryan, anything else? Or?
That'll do it.
Okay. Moving on, we have item 9, and that is to take action on the following items, and they are 3A through D, and that's from Personnel and Higher Education. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. No pending items. Privilege of the floor. Anyone like to address the Finance Committee? Yes, Supervisor McKibben.
South Street hot dog eating contest Saturday. John's going to be there. He's bringing his automobile, music, probably a little bit of beer or two, and some good folks on South Street. So the 99th anniversary of our wonderful hot dog establishment on South Street.
So, and the heartburn that comes with it.
Be there, be square, right?
No heartburn's at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
5:30.
Okay, this was all done in 3 minutes and 50 seconds, so gotcha.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn, made by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Oh, they're gonna go up and dig Asian clams now.
All right.